What's going on, everybody? It's Josh and Steven with the Boo Bros.
What up?
What up, what up? Just coming at you trying to do a little podcast here. I think the official holiday season slash recovering from holidays is finally over. We finally
I
have
hope
some
so.
plans going into February and some movement here, which is good. So I know we're kind of chomping at the bit to get another podcast out, but we didn't want to just throw something out there willy nilly. So we wanted to have a few fun topics to talk about. The big one that's been on our mind is where's our next trip going to be? We have a few, some local spots. There's Cedar Grove Cemetery in Williamsburg. There's the Roswell Ruins in Gloucester, and the Cold Harbor Battlefield, which I guess is technically Mechanicsville.
Yeah.
I think that one is the one that's winning out in terms of, just ones that we're most excited about. So that's probably going to be the one we do. But I'm thinking we're probably going to have to go during the day just so we're not,
Yeah,
trespassing and don't get
for
in
sure.
trouble there. But obviously, Cold Harbor is a very well known Civil War battlefield. 20,000 people apparently died at that on that field or in the area around it, which is pretty staggering. Um, so we're looking at that probably Saturday, the 21st of this month. Josh, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
No, I think it's a good one. That's kind of I did look up a lot of things at night. Most Civil War battlefields, any battlefields in general, don't allow people at night. But
Hmm.
I was reading a couple stuff. Just kind of trying to think about if it'd be somewhere we want to go, and I can probably we might get some stuff during the day, anyways. But yeah,
Hmm.
Cold Harbor's pretty close to where I live. And honestly, the cabin on 360 is actually pretty close to cabin. I think even part of it is
Hmm.
falls in Cold Harbor because Cold
Yeah.
Harbor is kind of like a general term for a very big area. So I think it's considered like Old Mechanicsville,
Hmm.
is what Cold Harbor is like named is or Old Mechanicsville is named after it. So I think that's probably a solid choice. And there's always other places, but to put up money every time is kind of like is it worth what you're gonna put out?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, Cabin on 360 was incredibly fun. It was one of the most fun nights I've had in a while. But we want to stay relatively active, because if we get on trips that are like $300-400 every time we go to one, it's going to be hard for me personally to keep that up. I mean, we both have,
Yeah, same.
we both have kids and we both have other things going on, so we want to still be able to do these things, and not have to pay, a little savings account worth of money every time we go. So looking at more local stuff and more stuff that's not necessarily a bunch of money. Not saying that if you go somewhere very expensive, there's a lot of trips we want to do, but
Yeah.
that'll come with time, and as we get better at planning and kind of understanding the logistics of all these trips, it'll come with the territory there. Um, but while we were gearing up for our Cold Harbor trip, I was just doing a little digging on the internet, trying to find some like quote local legends in Virginia. And one I've heard a lot about personally is in Yorktown called Crawford Road. I had never heard of this before somebody that we actually Josh and I both work with talked about it, or she talked about it with Josh, and then he relayed it to me. I'm not going to share her info because she's not a part of this, but Crawford Road is apparently one of those very interesting. I don't know if it's an urban legend or kind of just like a paranormal hotspot, but it seems like it kind of all stems around this bridge that is on Crawford Road, and people claim all kinds of stuff if they park under the bridge or drive under the bridge really slow or walk under it. There's reports of people seeing like a woman in a bride's dress like hang herself from the bridge as you drive under, or like all kinds of like weird um, symbology, symbols, apparitions, and stuff on the walls. And if you go back, it's not there. I know you've probably heard more than me, Josh. I don't know if you want to chime in on that one either.
So I what I've heard at least from it is I'd heard about this prior to us talking with our coworker, but it just seems like it's kind of like considered like one of the most haunted places in
Mm-hmm.
like the Williamsburg area, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would think that it wouldn't be, but it is. So yeah, um, so like the girl from work, so she said that she was with one of her boyfriends and they were driving or whatever. They're just like talking and he just put the car in park, turned it off, and she's like full panic moding, um, like because the radio and everything. I think she, if I remember correctly, she said like the radio was acting a little weird too. And then of course, you've got like another thing they say with the bridge is like you'll have like like handprints on your car as you
Hmm.
drive through, which is pretty freaky. But I mean, I couldn't even imagine like, there's always a fear of like something being behind you, but like like imagine driving past this bridge and you just see this thing drop down. It's just
Yeah, I
terrifying.
mean, looking it up online, there's like so many different like it's none of it. There's no pattern, right? Like there's just it seems like
No.
this bridge is just a magnet for random, very strange, weird occurrences. Everything from actual apparitions to people just saying they don't feel right, or they thought they saw something out the corner of their eye. I saw reports of people seeing things like their own name written on the bridge, like in like graffiti, not graffiti letters, but like literally somebody wrote their name on the bridge and then they turn around and come back and it's not there. Just very odd and kind of abstract, supernatural occurrences that all. And in this road, I mean, again, it's called Crawford Road. If you look up Crawford Road Bridge, it's like the first thing you see on Google. It's in
Yeah.
Yorktown, and it's a very unassuming stretch of road. I mean, if I like did it on Google Maps and just kind of rode the route, it looks like any other road. It's just a wooded route, and there's a small bridge that goes over it. I mean, it's just so unassuming. So it's interesting that it just seems to either there's something going on there that's very strange, or there's people messing with other people that are there, which who knows? Who
Like a
knows what's actually
portal
going on?
potentially, maybe a portal of some kind,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's very very weird. So probably more to come. I looked up the only thing that makes me apprehensive about going there is it doesn't look like there's really anywhere convenient to park. So like we
Yeah.
couldn't park somewhere and then walk to here, because it's literally just a road in the middle of nowhere. So you'd have to like drive to it and like park on the road, which I don't know how the traffic is through there.
Yeah.
So maybe we take a little drive through there one day just for the fun of it and see what's going on.
Just do like a live as we're
Yeah,
walking
like
driving through and be like,
maybe
how do
we'll
I
stream
feel?
it. Like maybe we'll stream it and drive through there on a Twitch stream or something. Um, the next one I had, everyone, well, I say everyone in our area probably knows about Hollywood Cemetery. It's one of the most famous cemeteries in our area. One thing I did not know is the rumor or the urban legend of the Richmond Vampire from the Hollywood Cemetery. Um, the Richmond Vampire is like a folk tale that centers around a man named W. W. Poole. He has a mausoleum in Hollywood Cemetery. People, the rumor around it is he's got some interesting background. Maybe there's weird like his art. The architecture of his mausoleum is very different from the style of everybody else that's buried there. It just doesn't look like everyone else. And architecture and styles and certain symbols and writing on the mausoleum is just totally different. From the right perspective, people say the front of it kind of looks like vampire fangs, which I guess led itself to the rumor that he was a vampire. But what really is interesting is apparently back to about the 1960s, the rumor was that W. W. Poole was chased out of England for being a vampire. Now, again, who knows what's true and what's not.
Right.
The story got even a little more interesting when there was the 1925 Churchill Tunnel collapse, and apparently a bunch of people saw a man fleeing the scene covered in blood, running into W. W. Poole's mausoleum and never coming out. Very strange. Some people swear up and down that it's true. Other people say that, people were just seeing things and they saw one of the miners, maybe, or the railway workers rather, escape the wreckage and he ran off kind of in shock. But the fact that he ran exactly to that tomb and was people like chased after him thinking he was somebody that was injured and there was nobody in there, that's very odd. Just one of those things that like who knows what's the truth, who knows what really happened. This was a lot of this was over actually literally 100 years ago as of last year. So who knows? But that is another interesting and fun thing about Hollywood Cemetery that I did not know.
Actually, the coming up with the subway railroad collapse, actually, So one of my friends, his mom's a paranormal investigator. She does it like as a side gig or whatever,
Hmm.
and she said there's like maybe two or three places that she'll never ever go back.
Hmm.
She said that the tunnel collapse is one of them
Churchill
because she
Tunnel.
said that, yep, because she said that it was like, you know, like when you're like in a really, like when you're in a really uncomfortable spot and like you just don't know how you feel kind of sick. Like
Hmm.
she's like, I just felt like that the entire time. She's like, keep in mind, like she's a very seasoned paranormal investigator. Like she's done Trans-Allegheny, she's done all these things. And
Sure.
she said that she swears up and down she would never go back. She said it's just got some weird, just a really weird, scary like vibe to it. You know, she said a lot of that stems from the fact that like I don't know how many people know, but like a lot of the people they couldn't recover the bodies. It's too unsafe. So there's like
Hmm.
just people bodies just buried in there. But
Yeah.
that just sparked my thought because she said that Browns Island, but she said those were the two places that she could say right now she would never go back, even if you paid her 100, 100 grand, she would never go back.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'd known of the Churchill. I guess the tunnel cave in for, you know, my most of my life. I mean, we're from the area, so I'd heard of it. I didn't realize, how big of a, it was a huge deal. I mean, a lot of people died. So to have a story kind of wrapped in an urban legend about Hollywood Cemetery tied into that event is pretty is pretty. I don't want to say cool because that sounds kind of macabre, but it's interesting to be from here and
Yeah,
have a story like that.
no doubt.
So, anyways, what I want to do in these podcasts is kind of Virginia is so cool with things like that. It's we're one of the oldest states, obviously in America. So there's all kinds of these weird urban legend, strange things, and I want to try to highlight one of those or two of those each episode just for fun for people that aren't from here, or maybe don't look at that stuff that are from here and they just never really look into that kind of stuff because weirdly enough, that's kind of Josh and my favorite thing to do. It's just look through weird urban legend stuff and try to make sense of it and figure out what's what. So those are two that I just kind of found just looking around, and make sure next episode I'm sure we'll have two or three other weird ones, and
Yep.
hopefully Nathan will be awake then to look at them with us. He wakes up early, so sometimes he can't make these late shows, which is fine. Um, Next up on our little our segment here is going to be I dropped a 2026 movie post about. I mean, this year is going to be a crazy horror movie year.
Yes, it
Um,
will.
I, for one, the big ones on my list, at least for me, I'm really excited, and I think it's a movie series a lot of people kind of sleep on, but Ready or Not. Ready or Not 1 was one of those movies that I remember. I went to the movie theater with a group of friends. We were all out, probably at Buffalo Wild Wings, getting a couple drinks, having fun, and we were like, dude, we don't want to go home yet, so let's go to the movies. And we walk over and just saw the next movie on the docket as soon as we could, and it was Ready or Not 1. And I remember having zero expectations for that movie. And then we saw it, and I was blown away. I love that movie. I think Samara Weaving did an incredible job in that movie. I love the whole vibe of just the strange, family that was made all their money in board games. There's kind of like that weird esoteric vibe through their whole house and old school kind of rustic. It was just such a fun movie. It didn't rely on a lot of like. I mean, there was some gore at the end, but it wasn't just a hack and slash movie. It had a lot of fun twists to it. So the second one's coming out, which is great. I wasn't really sure they were going to do two of them, and it's been a minute since the first one, but there's another one coming out. There's all kinds of movies. Some of the ones I've got my eyes out for. Some news about the Backrooms movie. I love the Backrooms online. I guess you call it an online culture. I don't really know what to call it because there's games, there's blog posts, there's stories, there's merch. I mean, the Backrooms kind of blew up onto the scene a few years ago online, and to see a movie come out with the guy that originally kind of made the original posts is cool that they looped him in. Um, I know a lot of people like Wendigoon and Papa Meat are excited about it because they've covered a lot of backrooms esque online culture stuff.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if any of those caught your eye, Josh. In turn, I just kind of went through a bunch.
So Backrooms definitely caught my eye just because like the games are terrifying and
Very
also
fun.
just
Yeah,
being in my head, it's kind of like being stuck in this building that like is just never ending and they all look the same and everything is just kind
yeah.
of just
Liminal
creepy.
liminal space, just psychotic stuff.
And then I'm really excited for Mortuary Assistant
Oh, right. Yeah, I meant to say that. Yep.
um because Mortuary Assistant's a game that I've seen a lot of people play. I haven't played it myself. I've seen a lot of people play it,
It's
and
it's one of the scarier
and
games I've played in recent
and
memory.
it just seems like that movie is like almost verbatim the way the game is. So I think it's going to be
Hmm.
really cool to see how like how they talk about like if you know the game, it's like there's this theme of like you're trying to find like the devil in the body or whatever, and that's how you save yourself. Well, the movie just seems like it leans on that, but like even the teaser trailer just looks absolutely nuts. um
Yeah,
and then I think probably I like the 28 years, 28 days later. So I think the
yeah,
28 years later one's going to be a good one too.
yeah. So
Uh,
28 years later came out last year. The follow up Bone Temple is out, and from what I hear, people say it's excellent. 28 years later was pretty interesting. They went with a completely different vibe than the first two 28 movies. I did like it. I thought it was fun, but apparently everyone says Bone Temple like really kind of rounds out the movie. My opinion is that they had a 28 years later that was like 4 hours long, and they were like, we have to cut this movie in half. Like this is crazy.
right.
And
Well, also,
and
isn't the 28 years later that or 28 days later? That's like the first time they introduced running zombies,
it's a
right?
big yeah, it's a big part of it. I mean, people kind of go back and forth. I mean, there's definitely other. I think 28 Days Later is like the first big like pop culture appearance of running zombies. For me, that movie came out when I was relatively young, so of course I wasn't allowed
Yeah.
to watch it until a little bit later. My introduction to running zombies was Left 4 Dead, and when I played Left 4 Dead, I was like, "Oh, this is incredible! I need to like find more content like this." And 28 Days Later was like the only content that was like it. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, needless to say, if you want to check out some movies this year, we have a blog post just highlighting a few of them. There's a ton more. So if y'all find any, if you're in our Discord or online, be sure to let us know if there's some indie stuff that we're missing or not noticing. I do want to say, Iron Lung came out, and apparently it's met its budget. Markiplier is a YouTuber that made this movie, and Iron Lung is an indie game that is a like dystopian future. I don't want to spoil too much, but like kind of a very like claustrophobic and like it's a weird. It's almost like a Soma, but if it's like Soma took place in a submarine only. If you know what Soma is, if you don't, it's one of the best horror games ever. Um, Markiplier's a YouTuber that fell in love with the game, fell in love with the lore, and just loved how dark and gritty the setting was, and how much it just kind of relied on your own mind to make the game for you because you were in a submarine, like a submarine no bigger than my little corner of my office here for the entire game. You couldn't see out of it. You were kind of making your assumptions with sounds and the way that your submarine was acting. So it relied a lot on your own senses to make the game scary. Anyways, he's a fairly well-known YouTuber, and he made a movie, and he funded it himself, he directed it himself, and he's the main actor in it. And last time I checked, he had not only made back the money that he spent, he is times 700% of it is what he's made back in
Jeez.
money. Which I
Nice.
love. I mean, there's the other YouTuber. His name escapes me now, but he did Shelby Oaks, I believe, is that movie that other YouTuber did. And it's just cool to see like some of these horror projects from YouTubers kind of take off and really really do well. Um, Horror is such a hard space to get into. Um,
100%.
his name is Chris something, I think, but he's
Chris Stuckman.
it's Chris Stuckman. That movie did well and did for Iron Lung, which is definitely kind of its own, very different. It's not for like a casual horror fan. For that movie to do so well, I mean, Markiplier's a big name, but he didn't really paste his name all over this. So, congratulations to him. That movie is out, and I hear it's really, really good. Um, so again, if y'all know of any other ones, drop a line, shoot us a Discord message. We're always looking for fun new horror movies. Um, Next up, I'm gonna share my screen here because we are gonna do
Tier
a
list.
cryptid tier list.
This is Steven shit right here. This is his thing.
I do like cryptids.
Big time.
That's true. I'm just gonna try to share.
Let's see if I can pop it up. There we go.
All right.
I see it.
So I looked on tier list maker and I couldn't really find one that I loved. Um, so we're gonna roll with. I'm gonna make this so they can see your face too. Um, I'm gonna roll with one I made on Google Drawings. Very
Nice.
very high tech. First one, and this is all for
The
fun.
highest tech.
This is not like who could beat who in a fight. This is just for fun. Bigfoot. What do you read Bigfoot as?
I think, honestly, I feel like I gotta put him in the S tier
Yeah,
because, if you
he's
think of
like
a
the
cryptid, like
cryptid,
he's like
right?
the most known
Exactly.
cryptid, right?
Yeah,
Like
he's
he's the
like
one
the
that all
cryptid.
the games are about, all the movies are about,
Yeah,
all of the, he and there's all kinds of pictures and all kinds of things of him. So I definitely
yeah,
put him in
yeah.
S tier, um, for
I
sure.
agree. Yeah, he is like the epitome of cryptid. Like when people say cryptid, they usually are thinking of Bigfoot. So I'm gonna roll. I think I'm with you there. I'm gonna put him in the old S tier here. The next one is near and dear to me. I've got family from West Virginia. We've got the Mothman. I
So I
gotta
say
put
I
him
know
in
where you're
S
gonna put
tier.
that.
Yeah.
I knew you were going there. I'd agree.
So if you don't know about the Mothman, I'm not gonna bore you here, but he's a fun character because there's the town Point Pleasant is the town that you know is where he supposedly is, and in addition to people having sightings of him and there being photos of something flying through the air there and all kinds of crazy stuff, um, the town Point Pleasant was not doing very well. They were a failing town. I don't know if it was a problem with like mines shutting down and infrastructure failing, but the town was failing. And then the Mothman thing takes off, and all of a sudden the town starts to get tourists, and business starts doing really well for the local restaurants and hotels. They start to sell Mothman merch because everybody keeps coming to the town asking about the Mothman. And now, Point Pleasant is a town that has survived. And my family comes from some pretty uh, let's say working class towns. There's a lot of towns I've been to that I have ties to that the towns are no longer there. They're empty or they're almost empty or they're basically barely functioning. So to have a story of like an Appalachian town kind of get saved by an urban legend, like financially, like they are bouncing back, is such a cool twist on just having a cryptid there. Like these people love the Mothman because he saved their town. So I just love that twist. So I've always loved the Mothman. The next one up, I believe this is the Jersey Devil. Yep. Um,
I'd probably put him.
I don't know much
Ah,
about him other
yeah,
than
same.
I have some. I have one of my best friends who's no longer with us actually in high school. His family was from upstate New Jersey, and they always talked about him, and mostly to them it was a joke. It was not. They didn't take it very
Yeah.
seriously. I'd never heard of him other than the hockey team before them. So I don't know much about him. I'll kind of refer to your judgment on that one.
I think I'd probably I would either put him in don't know enough or probably put him like C tier. I mean
Okay.
he's not a super common one, and the only time I'd ever really heard of him, like I'd heard of him in books and stuff, but
Sure.
most of the time it's just been like here, and I'm sure that if you go to the towns that he from, I'm sure they
Right.
would give him one, but
Yeah.
it's definitely an interesting one. Obviously, anything that resembles a goat is terrifying to me, just because
Sure.
typically the goat is
Demonic.
Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that's one of those things where that's got a kind of a creepy vibe to it. So
Yeah.
just
It's
because
one
I
of
don't know a
those.
whole lot about him,
It's one of those that like looking at like all the images that people say is the Jersey Devil. Like you can't make sense of that. Like it doesn't look like an animal that. Like I mean, people would say, "Oh, it's a goat," but like every image shows it walking on two legs and
you
having like very
imagine.
human features, but like hooves for arms. I mean, it's very strange. Like Bigfoot, you can be like, oh, maybe somehow there's like a strain of monkeys or some kind of primate that lives out in the woods. And Mothman could be, oh, back in the day when the cameras were bad, it could be like a very large vulture or eagle or something. Who knows? But like something like the Jersey Devil, it's like I don't know how you could see that and be like, oh, that's just a goat that learned how to walk upright and fly. Like I don't know. Like
He's a very special goat.
yeah. Next up is Chupacabra. Um,
I think I've
all my Chupacabra knowledge comes from Scooby Doo. I know he's from Mexico. That's all I know.
I probably put him in B just because,
He's fairly popular, right?
yeah, and also like for, for cryptids in general, like he's a very feared cryptid,
Hmm.
throughout Mexico and throughout Mexican heritage, and
Central
a
America.
lot of a lot of the stories that I've heard too is he kind of like isn't localized to like one area. He's kind of everywhere where that like group of people is.
Hmm.
So I think it's one of those things where just for the known like a lot of people have heard the chupacabra, and I think it's very like respected and very like very scary to a lot of people from that
Yeah, it's
culture.
it's
So
almost like their version of like the werewolf, right? Like it's just
yeah,
it's like normally it's on four legs, but it's like a huge like hyena that's very smart and can stand up if it needs to. Like some very wild. I mean, Google searching chupacabra like real photographs or something. There are some very strange things that people have posted. So who knows what it really is?
and
Next
the
up,
interesting thing
oh
about
sorry,
him too, the last
you're
thing
good.
I'll say too is he like doesn't feed on people. Like it's all on
It's like
animals, which
yeah,
is
it's like cat. Like
interesting.
they're known for like drinking cattle blood, right? Like that's kind of their
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, very. I mean, it's like their version of like a wolf man or like a dire wolf, but has like some vampire traits. Very strange. Who knows? Next up is a skinwalker. I don't know if you know
S
this.
tier.
This was like the big picture that circled around the internet when they got popular. Me personally, I think Native American horror and folk tales are some of the most terrifying ones that exist. They're responsible for the next one as well, and both of them, in my opinion, are terrifying and awful. And so that's my tier list, at least the way that I'm ranking these, are like how terrifying of a legend that they are. Other than the Mothman, I'm very sentimental about the Mothman. I say Skinwalker has to be at least an A tier,
Yeah,
if not S tier.
I'd say actually I'd put it as tier just because the last couple of last couple of podcasts I actually learned some different things about them. So actually,
Hmm.
so what the history behind it is so skinwalkers were actually witches, and you basically have to essentially get to a point of like being just pure evil,
Hmm.
and once you become pure evil, you like basically ask to become the skinwalker, and when you become a skinwalker, you essentially can just warp into literally whatever. So like, if whatever your biggest fear is, that's
Right.
what a skinwalker can do, and they're
It's
like
some
immediately can like freeze you in place. Like it's
yeah, some of the videos that I've seen online, like again, my family, I've got a lot of ties to like Appalachia and West Virginia, and like some of the Appalachian like urban legends about skinwalkers and hearing people at night talk in a in a voice that you might know or whistle out in the woods. A lot of that stuff is centered around skinwalker, just
And I mean, I think I'd
mythology.
argue too that in Skinwalker Ranch is like one of the most known places in the entire world for when it comes to like paranormal stuff. And of course, when you come with Native Americans, I mean, there's that just pure like an elemental, like so much more powerful than anything we could possibly think of. And that's kind of where I put that.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
mean, speaking of that, I mean, when we were at Cabin on 360, there was that creature. Was it the Pugwudgie or something? Was the real
yeah,
name of it?
yeah,
We called it the Fuckwitcha, but it was the Pugwudgie, which is another like Native American curse-oriented, shape-shifting kind of entity that is just people don't know a lot about it. I just put for me like skinwalkers are just absolutely terrifying because they have that kind of that fear factor of like looking across the road and you see a person but like they're not quite right, like their arms aren't the right way or something, like
yeah,
because the skinwalker doesn't understand fully how to imitate a person, right? So it's like they're looking at you trying to imitate what you're doing but like something's just off, and that feeling like in a horror movie or something is called like uncanny valley, where you're like looking at it and it's like it looks right but like something isn't exactly right with it, and like that
right.
feeling that your brain gets like trying to put a puzzle piece together in real time is like what the skinwalkers give you, which is terrifying. The next one up is a wendigo. Again, love the wendigo, a Native American folk tale which has evolved into its own thing. um, I think they're awesome. A tier, S tier for sure for me. um,
Yeah, I think I'd probably put him A tier. I
from
think that the Wendigo stories that I've heard is like you have to actually like have like a human sacrifice in order to become one,
I
which is
believe
interesting.
from a lot of the legends I've heard, Wendigos come from. It's a Native American curse. If you eat human flesh, you become a Wendigo. Like you become a this force of nature like thing is a curse. You know, it's like you're cursed for doing this sin of eating human remains or something. Now, pop culture has went from the original kind of legend of a Wendigo to obviously if you played what was it, The Quarry, or that other horror game. I can't remember the name of it now, of course. Until Dawn. Until
Yeah.
Dawn, the creature, spoiler alert, is a Wendigo, and it basically kind of just. Funny enough, it looks like my. I wrote a short story for our website in the form of a field notes journal about a creature called the Crackle. And a lot of what the Crackle resembles, unintentionally, is kind of what Until Dawn describes as a Wendigo. But it's the same kind of deal. It's a curse. It's a human that's been cursed for one reason or another. Um,
There's a just a little plug too. If you haven't read the Discord or the blog post I wrote about what is it called? It was like the girl in the backyard is what was it? We have a blog post about that's based around the Wendigo,
oh,
and
true.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
it's very interesting how it turns. I can't, of course, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head right now, but
I can't either.
it just talks about how like this they kind of like can, that story is like it makes him trust her, and then it kind of like spins it and says, well, you can be with me forever if you
Hmm.
eat this. So
Yeah, yeah. Wendigos, like I said, they a lot of stories have shifted far from the original mythology, but they're all fun. The next one is another one that I've heard of, the Beast of Bray Road, also called the Wisconsin Werewolf. Um, I've heard of this because there's a movie and I've seen the movie. Um, Outside of that, it kind of just seems like an American Werewolf. I don't know much about it, so I'm probably me personally gonna go do not know enough, which I
yeah, I
feel
would
kind of
agree.
silly because I know it's a name that I know, so I feel like I should know more. I just don't. You good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Sorry.
And
Yeah,
heads up too,
definitely don't know enough.
the next couple again, I kind of pulled these at random. The next couple, the skunk ape is the next one, which is apparently like I imagine it's kind of like Florida or like um from what I read, it's centrally in Florida. It's kind of like their version of a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, what I was reading just off of like Wikipedia, it's like it was like you said, it was based in Florida, and it's kind of like yeah, it's like an ape-like creature that um, they've shot at and all kinds of stuff, and they can
Hmm.
never find it, but yet they find like little pieces, like they find like fur and barbed wire and stuff.
Hmm.
So like it's a little bit more. It seems like it's a little bit more like found like a Bigfoot is, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like like Bigfoot's kind of just pops up and disappears, while as that one like seems like it leaves stuff. But I don't know enough about it. I just what I read. I just it's interesting to kind of just imagine this like kind of short. It's like 5 feet tall, just like running through
Yeah,
the
it's
grass.
like almost
Like
like it's a Bigfoot, but it's more humans. Like Bigfoot's known to be like what, like 9 feet or something, like something
yeah,
huge.
huge. Yeah,
And the skunk ape like kind of just looks like Josh if he like lived in the woods and just like
exactly.
runs
I mean, I'm
around.
hairy enough
So
for it
like
for sure.
that on its own is terrifying. But then you put him in the Everglades and have him running through the tall grass. That's pretty tough. So the next one is another one that I feel like I should know because it's from my home turf of West Virginia. The Flatwoods Monster, and honestly, like it looks like a page right out of like an old Universal Monsters movie. It is like an
Really.
alien-looking, very strange kind of creature. Um,
I feel like it
I'll
almost
even
leans into
on
like
like on
UFO
video so
style.
people can see it. I'll look it up just so people can see it. It is very interesting looking.
It
I
almost gives me like the vibe of like a like like how it says its red eyes glow. It almost is like a UFO style, which is
Yeah, to
interesting.
me it's like
God, it's
there's an
awful
old
though.
Universal monster movie called The Metaluna Mutant, and it's very like this doesn't look like that, but it's the same kind of style. It's like a very atomic age alien looking thing. So to see this come out of West Virginia is very interesting. Good on them for getting a little more creative.
They even
Um,
made a chair for it. Here, I'll bring it over so you guys can see it. Actually, I don't know if I'll be able to see. Share my screen really quick.
yeah,
I don't know if it'll throw off, but
that's fine.
like it's just a chair.
That's awesome.
They just have it sitting like that's like in the town that it like is supposedly from. It just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's like a welcome here, sit here. So that's pretty cool.
yeah. It's so interesting. Like I don't know. I mean, I kind of like it. I think it's fun, right? I think it's a fun. I don't know much about it. I'm gonna put it and don't know enough. But it is absolutely one that I'm gonna research more because I think it's just so interesting. Um, building off of that, this one is kind of everyone knows this guy, right? It's the Slender Man.
Slender Man. I don't even know if you're supposed to say it out loud, but
Oh, it's skinny guy. Um,
yes, I would put him. I think I'd put him in either A or S tier.
right.
It's it's just like to me just pure terrifying. He typically comes with a little girl, little boy, and then he's like this ultra tall, skinny, thing that's like is like very shadow figurey like,
Sure.
and just pops up like a lot of people that I've read a lot of stuff where like he'll just be like standing in their yard and they'll like open the curtain and he's just like this is a giant dude just standing just staring at them, which is absolutely
Yeah,
terrifying.
he came from a browser game, right? Like early 2000, like mid to late 2000, like what 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. I mean, it was when I remember still being in school, and like the whole Slender Man craze started. And there's like I felt like every time you went on any website, there was a game, like some kind of flash game about Slender Man or hiding from Slender Man or running from him in the woods and finding his tapes and all that. So, I mean, that was all huge.
2013 I think is when it
13. Oh,
first
okay.
dropped.
It was actually later than I thought. Um, but yeah, I mean, I remember when all of it kicked off, and like it seemed like there was just a game everywhere. Everyone wanted to play Slenderman games, and then that whole like, I mean, the Backrooms game is kind of a byproduct of that, right? Like you're in a terrible place, you're trying to find videotapes, and you're trying to get out. That started in the Slenderman game. I
Yeah.
think what really makes Slenderman scary, in my opinion, um, is the real life murders that took place. I'm sure you probably remember, but those two girls took their friend out to the woods and they killed her in the woods. And their court case was because they said Slenderman made them do it.
It's like the
Um,
most awful thing ever.
so, and obviously that's terrible, and those people deserve to be in jail forever. But that kind of makes it adds an extra level of like dread and scary to this urban legend, right?
Oh, and
Um,
also if you look at the picture of one of the murderers, like she just looks like a geeky
yeah, they're normal
like
kids.
she's like,
Yeah, they're just
yeah, like
normal kids, man.
that's
And the fact that like this internet urban legend kind of creepy pasta thing made them take their friend out to the woods, and like they didn't just kill her, they stabbed her like 50 times or something crazy. I mean, it was
yeah.
insane. So for me, that makes like Slenderman on his own was like probably a C or a low B tier for me. Um, but the fact that there's those real life ties like into the world it makes him scarier. I'm not willing to give him a rank for that because I think it's horrific what they did. But it overall it made the Slenderman character just it just gives me like chills when I think about him because of the real world implications that he has. Um,
Right.
so again, my opinion is probably high C, low B. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'll probably put him low B. The next one is interesting. People might see this and go, "What the hell? Or what is that?" So
I
this
when I
is
read
a
this, I laughed about it.
yeah, it's a tunnel, and the reason that this tunnel is important because if you search Virginia Bunny Man on Google, there's a lot of very interesting things that come up. But the Bunny Man urban legend surrounds this tunnel. This tunnel is apparently people have reported seeing what looks to be a person, a humanoid bunny, a man in a bunny suit, or something, some form of apparition somewhere around this
Dude,
tunnel.
that shadow in the one of the videos on
Yeah,
YouTube looks absolutely awful.
I had never heard of this before a few days ago. Um,
To me, it
very
almost makes it. I feel like it's almost like it gives me like a serial killer esque like
To me it sounds like
style.
somebody, yeah, to me it sounds like an urban legend that's founded because somebody wants to scare people and occasionally someone will dress up in a bunny suit and go out there. Does that make it any less scary? Absolutely not. That is
No,
terrifying.
especially
Um,
that story where like through like there was like that they said that apparently like an axe got thrown at their windshield or
yeah.
whatever, right through their window or something.
So for me,
Yeah.
that's scary. It's in Virginia. It's not that far from me. That's scary as shit. Um, I say probably mid B tier. I think that's scarier than Slenderman, for
Yeah, I'd
sure.
agree.
So I'd
Yeah.
put him maybe put the old bunny man right in here somewhere. Little tunnel man. Um, Next up is the goat man. Again, somebody I don't know much about. Um, but all again online when you look up cryptid, the goat man is a big old hit on the internet, I guess. Kind of looks like Bigfoot just with a goat's head.
Yeah, I feel like it would be like I put B or A tier. It's only because I have the implications of like again like
Demonic.
demonic is yeah, and the goat typically comes with it, and that's I've heard of the goat man before, but yeah, I haven't like dug into it a lot, but it definitely it just seems like demonic. It has to be like
Mhm.
right, like in my opinion, if it's something that looks like that, like I don't know,
Yeah, I mean,
like
black goat, right? I mean, that is very symbolic. Who really knows what that thing is, if it's even a thing? There's a lot of reports about it. I don't. I think I've seen there was multiple states that reported something along the lines of a goat man. Um,
it almost seems like he would almost like Krampus could be kind of
mhm.
in that realm. Dude,
Maybe, yeah.
this picture looks funny. It's from Maryland, but it's like it looks like an old man that's furry with a goat head.
The last one I picked up off of the internet because honestly, I've never heard this word outside of Fallout. There's a creature in Fallout called the Snallygaster. They're the giant salamanders with tentacles in their mouth. If you watch Fallout Season 1, the show on Amazon Prime, it was that giant pink looking salamander fish that came out of the water and attacked the ghoul and the main character. And if you looked closely, it had human hands inside of its mouth. That thing was terrifying, and that's the only time I've ever heard of the Snallygaster. Well, apparently it's an urban legend in Maryland. It's a flying creature with like a sea creature's head and like some kind of tail with tentacles on it. It looks absolutely insane if you look it up. Um, and I'm assuming that's where Fallout maybe got some of the inspiration for their Snallygaster because that thing's kind of
Yeah.
a amalgamation of a bunch of different things as well. So the Snallygaster, again, I'm gonna put. I don't know enough about it. I just saw it and thought it was awesome. Um, have you ever heard of that?
Not I'd heard of it from Fallout.
Right.
That's it. But um,
Well, shout out to Maryland. That's an insane cryptid to call your little mascot there. A flying like
and
weird. I mean, they're
the
insane.
one
They're insane.
the one picture I saw was just like hanging out on like a cow, and it's not doing anything. It's just hanging out.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Snallygaster Maryland image search so people can see. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know like what to call this thing. Uh,
I tell you that Snallygaster was from Reddit. That one looks like the like it would be from Star Wars. The
yeah,
one down one over, one to the left.
here.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that looks crazy. I mean, yeah, this is such an interesting urban legend. But anyway, that's our unofficial, zero authoritative tier list there. Love the Mothman. That's all I'll say there. But we won't take up too much more of your time with tier lists that don't really matter outside of just talking about fun things.
I mean, it's fun.
We love it. Yeah, I love a tier list, especially about weird cryptid lore stuff that we like. Um, I do have a fun question for Josh for the end here.
All right, let's do it.
In a zombie apocalypse,
Okay.
would you rather be in a zombie apocalypse with running zombies and have a gun, or with walking zombies and only have a baseball bat. Now, keep in mind, you have to remember in either one, there's gonna be people. Like
Yeah.
people are gonna try to take your shit, right?
Do I have? Is my question would be how's my ammo reserve? Do I have a lot, or is it
Let's
like
say
small
you have
amount?
1,000 rounds. That's tough, right?
That's a hard one. I feel
Yeah,
like I would probably do walking zombies with a
dude.
baseball bat.
I feel like you have. I feel like running zombies are an
Because
instant non-starter. Like you're just
well,
done.
and also running zombies can also like jump and stuff too.
Yeah,
So it's like even if you're if you're a fan of shooting too, like it's so hard to hit a moving target. So if there's a lot of them sprinting at you, good luck.
it's so tough, man. Like every time anyone has a question like that, I feel like you almost have to say whatever the other choice is that's not running zombies because
I think
I mean,
walking zombie with a baseball bat, and then I adjust the baseball bat to have spikes on it. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's I mean, because like and what my favorite zombie stories are like. I love movies like Cargo with Martin Freeman or The Road or movies that are more based on the human threat of any apocalypse, right? Or any kind
Right.
of end of days scenario or without rule of law scenario because humans are the real danger. Um,
100%. I mean,
I
like,
mean, and Romero always, if you watch the original Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, the
okay.
zombies were kind of like this. They were a threat. I mean, obviously a zombie is a threat, but they kind of acted as a backdrop for the movie and the real threat. I mean, Night of the Living Dead, you see at the end where the humans have all the zombies wrapped up, tied them up, and they're killing them, and they're going crazy, and they're corralling them like cattle. And then in Dawn of the Dead, there's the mall scene where like the real enemy is the biker gang that comes in and destroys all their stuff. The constant theme in the Romero movies is the zombies are obviously the thing that is thrown at you, and they want you to like believe that that's the main threat, but really it's the people. And I've always loved movies like that. And even video games like State of Decay, where like State of Decay, the zombies are a problem, but the real problem is other survivors, other people. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of similar, like Dead Rising. Like you have, like, obviously zombies are a threat, but like you have all the psychopaths that
exactly. I
make
mean,
it way
Dead Right.
harder.
That's another great call out. Those games were great. But for me, it's like when you shift to running zombies, that's where it gets a little more different. Because
Yeah.
people are still a threat, but now the zombies are even I mean, the only way to get like dragged down by walking zombies is if you just back yourself into a corner, or you just bad planning, running out of supplies, stuff like that. Whereas like running zombies, you could do everything right and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they'll still
So
catch you.
yeah.
Yep.
So last segment here is just kind of what's coming up. Obviously, we talked about the trip on the 21st of February. Probably going to be Cold Harbor. Um, and hopefully, we're working out some stuff right now to figure out how to do some watch parties on Twitch.
Yep.
As outside of being paranormal and supernatural and ghost hunter guys, we also just love good old fashioned horror movies and pop culture. So to fill in the gaps between our ghost hunting and our prep there and all the stuff we do for that, we want to fill up some of the space with just some fun, just like kick back and relax, horror movies, horror pop culture, stuff like that. Um, Working through some kinks there, trying to figure out what we can and can't do, and maybe in the next couple weeks we'll have a watch party with some fun horror movies on Twitch. Either way, we'll let you know on our Discord and on our website. Josh, is there anything you have to say before we bounce?
Other than just keep looking out for all of our content we're putting on our
Mm-hmm.
website. Steven does all of the really cool like entries on different monsters, which is awesome.
Thanks, man.
I've been kind of taking a shot at some short stories that I feel like have been pretty good. Um, but put out content there. Make sure, like, if you're commenting on it, if you like it, if you want to see us go somewhere else, if you want us to lean into more like something different, like cryptids more, like if you want to see more of that, let us know. And just keep an eye on all the content and just give us all your input. And as always, we appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch these videos, and hopefully you have fun with it.
Yeah,
And hopefully it gives you a little bit, you start kind of thinking a little outside the box, where maybe you don't know as much about paranormal stuff or cryptids as you thought you did. I know
I,
I get
I was about to
surprised
say,
to know that.
I tell you, we didn't. You know, I thought I knew a lot, and it turns out I didn't know anything. So,
But other than that, we're gonna probably, we'll try to put some. We'll probably start trying to stream some horror stuff here
hmm
and there. But we'll definitely keep an eye out for, all of the little adventures and stuff. And we still have to get like the really big podcast on the cabin on 360. So we got a whole bunch of footage and stuff that our buddy Trey still hasn't gone through, as far as I understand. But I think that'll be, something. See if he got anything. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all I got. I appreciate all y'all coming out and hanging out with us for probably 45 minutes or so.
yep, yeah, no, we missed putting content together. Like I said, hopefully the holidays, New Year stuff kind of takes a while to wear off. We're both busy at work. We're involved in a few other projects outside of this one that I actively work on, and Josh has kind of joined in on and helping me out with some stuff, dealing with some tabletop games and some other projects we've been doing. So we're all over the place, but we're having fun with it, and this is kind of our little passion project. So we will keep you guys in the loop. Like I said, more stuff coming, and until then, we will see y'all later. Bye, everybody.
Later.